Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 208 of Forever Exiled. It feels like it's been that many episodes since we've seen each other.
It does. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Could have been longer.
No, I wasn't going to say anything mean, but you did.
I was just getting ready to throw the fists. I thought I just wanted to get the first punch.
Big shout out to our patrons. Thank you, John, for joining our Patreon whilst we were away, and for everybody else who resubbed up, and everybody else who supports the podcast. We love your faces. Patreon gets you access to After Dark. It's our podcast after the podcast. We talk about stuff and things and such.
Lots of such.
We appreciate you.
Even things. And thank you, everyone, for your compliments. We did 2 interviews, per se. We went on Fated Connections 2 weeks ago.
Something like that, yeah. Maybe not quite, but
2 weeks ago. And then we also had Octavian come on our show as well. And so thank you, everyone, for going out of your way to compliment the episodes. All 3 of them were absolutely fantastic to be around, and it's great talking to them. And so thank you for them for their time. And thank you, everyone, for going out of your way to make us feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, it was fun. First time for us doing the Fated Connections live thing with cameras. And yeah, how was your week?
And
go ahead.
And Justin felt especially warm and fuzzy because he was drunk for a complete week straight. And so the compliments go extra deep into his heart. Not extra warm and fuzzy.
The whole week. But how was your week?
I had a good week. I did that thing again with my lawn where every row was a different height.
Why do you do that?
So I changed.
Is that just for fun?
I think it's fun. Okay. Yeah, it is. It is for fun. I mean, you know how my brain works. It's the same thing with like theory crafting and building. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. But it's fun work. And with the new lawnmower that I think is worse than my old lawnmower that I was forced to buy, was it the beginning of this season or last season when I was having all those battery problems with it? This one feels a lot cheaper, but it's a lot lighter in general. Sure. It's like a Formula 1 car. You push a Formula 1 car on the side and you feel like you're going to knock it over. But with this, it feels the same way, but it's so much lighter to change the height. Anyway. Yeah, it was just for fun, I was like doing the lines in my lawn, and I'm like, you know what? Wonder what the lowest setting's like. And all of a sudden, my grass was like, and I'm like, okay, we'll forego the lowest setting. And so, but I was trying the different settings, seeing what it looked like, because I like the.
Did you cut it all at the highest setting and then work your way down, or did you actually try to cut at that lowest setting right from the get go, where the grass was already long?
My lawnmower goes from, it says 1 to 3 inches, but there's like an extra high height that I swear is like 2 feet.
Okay.
Right. Like, so it's huge. So it's the highest non-absurd height.
Okay.
Right. And I think that is at 3 inches. And that's where I like it. And that's what I'm planning on hopefully remembering for next season, so that hopefully my grass is shading itself enough that it'll stay. I don't have to water it. I'm not going to water it anyway, but so that I don't have to water it. And hopefully it stays green throughout the majority of our drought summer next year. So I'm going to be keeping it at 3, but I want to see how nice it looked, because when it's time to cut, like when you cut it 3 inches next week where we live with like our rain and sun and stuff, it's like a foot. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you got a lot to cut. So it looks nice when you first cut it, but it doesn't look nice about half a week into it. I still like it, but it doesn't, it does look nicer when it's cut shorter. So I'm like, I'm going to keep it at 3 inches, but let's see. So I did a 3-inch cut, and then I did a 1-inch cut, and then I did a 3-inch cut, and then I did a 1.5-inch cut, and then a 3-inch, and then a 2-inch, 3-inch, 2.5-inch. Oh, it was fun.
That's
man.
Awesome.
It was good. The front yard barely got anything. There's like a tenth of my yard that's still growing in the front.
Yeah.
I mean, we just had a wonderfully rainy week, so hopefully things start growing. I mean, I redid some seed, like all the splotchy areas that the sun said, no, don't like you, grass. I put some soil out earlier in the week, waiting for the rain. And then as soon as the rain started coming, I actually waited too long. The day that it wasn't supposed to rain, like I don't like our family, we Sabbath once a week. We just make sure that we have a day where we don't do any chores. And so it was supposed to rain on the Saturday, and we Sabbath on the Sunday just because it works well for our family. And then it was supposed to rain starting Monday all the way through. Now, forgot where that was going. But anyway, I seeded on a day where it was supposed to be dry. And it wasn't. So like like trying to like use my little spreader, but all the rain's making the seeds stick to the plastic, and it was a lot more work than it should have been. But I was excited to finally get to work on the lawn again, and so it's been fun watching the rain do the work for me. And see my very inconsistent backyard, which is nice and luscious green, be completely out to lunch. So
Sweet.
yeah, so no, I had a good week though. I mean, the kids are off school today. Yours are too, right? We call them Pro D days where we are, and then they have Monday off. What's Monday? I don't mean to be insensitive, so let me say what Monday is.
Truth and Reconciliation Day.
Yes, excellent. And that's in recognition for, I guess, equality for everyone that lives in the country. Our history in Canada, we were pretty not nice. A very big understatement to those that were here before us. And so this is just one of those days off where everybody gets to reflect on equality. So anyway, that's Monday, but today's a Pro D day. What are your kids doing right now?
Our schools do that. They're like, oh, it's
not the reconciliation.
No, that it's a long weekend, and they're like, we're going to make it extra long. We're going to give you the opposing day off. I can't stand when they do that. It's so annoying. Why? It's just a pain in the ass. I don't like Pro D days at all. Pro D days are stupid. Yeah. Get back in school. My this week's been fine. I've been sick, so it's been tough. I got sick, I think on Monday it started, and then I had to speak starting Tuesday, so it made this week rough.
Speak?
Yeah, we're doing training sessions, so it wasn't the greatest week, and then just for that, just because I just didn't feel great. So it's kind of starting to, I take a lot of stuff when I'm sick, like a lot. Like I fight colds with medicine and drugs.
not with gusto.
Nope. Sleep and drugs.
Not
That's
with
what I
bravery.
do. Nope. I am a whiny baby when I'm sick. I hate being sick.
Do you know that commercial? I think it's a NyQuil commercial. But there's this guy. Pam, it's one of my favorite commercials. Yes, my wife and I reference Pam all the time. The guy. So for those listening, there's a commercial, older commercial now, but whatever. Commercials are the best. There's a commercial where this guy, he's like so sick, his like face looks like it's melting off. He's so sick. He's lying down in bed. He's like, Pam, Pam, and he's looking towards the ensuite, the washroom that's attached to their bedroom. He's like, Pam. She's brushing her teeth. She leans back and looks at him. And sorry, I'm like acting it out, so my mouth's moving away from them. Like she's brushing her teeth. She leans back and looks at him like, "What do you want?" He's like, Pam, can you call my mom? And she just looks at him like he's such a wuss and just hucks a bottle of whatever advertised
like NyQuil or something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's so great. So we're always like, "You want us to call Pam for you?
Yeah,
she can call your mom."
Yeah. So
anyway,
my week's just been that, and then the week before that, I was in Vegas, which was a lot of fun. So I was there for the week before, which is why our episodes lined up really nicely for me to go away and not have to worry about us recording. And Vegas was fun. Vegas is hilarious, man. They got like one afternoon for about maybe 20 or 30 minutes. It rained there. That place floods in an instant. Like we went into a hotel to do some shopping or something. I don't remember what. When we came out of the hotel, it looked like pipes had cracked. Like there was water just pouring through these pipes and like running down the road. And we got into an Uber and we were driving along the strip, and the orange construction cones were just floating along the strip. Like the big ones, big, huge pylons. We're just like going for a ride down the strip. It's just
that's crazy.
Their drainage there is so different.
I wonder, I mean, it's obviously worth it for them to do it that way, but I wonder how often it rains there.
It will be hilarious if that place rains during F1. The F1 will get canceled straight up. They won't be able to do it. It will just straight up be canceled. If the place floods with like a few millimeters of rain, it's crazy. So
what was it like? I mean, obviously you have your experience there and say as much as you want, but I'm curious what they're building. Like it's an extremely valuable strip. Billions and billions of dollars goes through that strip. And there's a massive construction project going on for the Formula One circuit. Mm-hmm. Of course, we're big fans, but that's like the Formula One circuit's legit going down the main straight.
Yep.
Like, how is that interrupting everything? Does it ruin the experience for you?
Well, it might if you had not.
Like the Bellagio fountains have been turned off.
No, they're running, but you can't stand in front of them to watch. You have to watch them from like across the street, or like the road's not open in front of them.
Oh, okay.
So they are still running, but it would suck if it was like your first or second time to Vegas. Like we've seen all the attractions, so for us, we sort of know where we're going, and to not see some of that stuff like the Bellagio and the volcano and stuff like that, it would suck a little bit for that. But I will tell you, the Uber drivers hate it, and the local people there, like don't seem like very big fans. Like I think every Uber driver we talked to minus one said they wouldn't work during the F1 week because their routes to drive, a 10-15 minute drive now will probably take them 50 to 60 minutes. And even with the surge pricing that happens
because
Uber,
of closed
roads, closing it, yep. And that actually starts, I think, next week. They start closing those roads next week because of the work that has to be done. So they were saying that, I guess there's surge pricing that happens during these events where the Uber cost goes like way up. But the guy was saying to me, it doesn't even close to make up for the fact that what I could have done maybe 4 or 5 drop-offs is now only 1. I don't make up that difference in money. So a lot of them aren't going to be working it. So
I wonder if the companies are being compensated by the municipality or state, because that's probably going to impact the ones that are close to the closed areas. It's probably going to impact their business quite a lot.
I don't know. Like one of the guys was saying that the hotels don't really care because they're going to be full. Like there's a hotel there that has a deal where I think it was for 6 people. It was $1 million for 6 tickets to the F1 and a hotel room. Was $1 million for whatever this setup was. Crazy. Yeah, like
it better be the best setup in the world. If that starts to be the going price to go to a Formula One circuit, just take me now, Lord. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, so it was cool to see because I could see like parts of the track that we've raced when we play it. Sure. So it was fun to see like what they're doing, but that place is just a gong show right now with construction and roads shut down and stuff. But it was fun. It was a good trip. And
good.
then
I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, we did.
Saw some videos. Not as many drunk texts as I was hoping, unless you did them in a different. No, but you're not supposed to want to do pretty good. You're supposed to want to text us.
No, sometimes I get in trouble. And so
from who? Not from us.
Well, I could say the wrong thing, or I already got in trouble. Fine. What did I do? I don't remember. Maybe some of the video. I don't remember. But it was fun. We had a really good time. I wasn't like super like we drank pretty heavy a couple of the days there. One of the days we went to the pool and I don't remember how we got back to our room. It was a lot of fun. And then the piano bar is always one of my favorite things to do when we go there. Top Golf's a lot of fun. It was nice. The weather was really nice. It was hot out and we just did like we've been so many times. So we do a lot of shopping. We just go like hit different types of restaurants, go do shopping, and there's a lot of F1 stuff there right now. Like a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's also like stupidly expensive. Like even though I would like some stuff, I don't need a sweatshirt for $280. Good Lord. American.
This was your first time where that big iGlobe stadium was? Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw it. It's cool. Cool. I don't really care too much about it, but I did like Park MGM because it's the only non-smoking hotel on the strip. So
do you pay extra for that, or do you not?
I think it's a little bit more expensive, but
I love it.
But the no smoking in the hotel is awesome. You don't go back up to your room after hanging out in the casino for a bit, just reeking like smoke. And we went there right after the MGM hack happened. So that was a little interesting too, because they were still figuring all their stuff out with regards to people being the week before us unable to check in except through a person. It was like 4 or 5 hour wait lines the week before we got there, which I would not have done.
No, definitely not. I'm glad you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, so it was fun. And then I was just gonna say, so we did Faded, which that was actually more fun than I thought it was going to be. I was a little nervous leading up into Faded. It was funny because we were talking with Kat and Baylor on Discord beforehand, and Kat had made a comment about like, oh, it's just, I don't remember what it was, but it was something about, oh, it's no problem. It's just, pretend people aren't watching. And I was thinking to myself, I don't care about people watching. I care about the fact that you guys, they talk at a relatively higher level of PoE than I'm used to. And I didn't want to look like an idiot. So
right. Well, I thought you did fantastic because you were nervous and not nervous, but just unsure about what it would be like. I didn't know where the direction they were going to go.
Right. Yeah, we've not done that before.
So I thought you did fantastic. You carried conversation very well.
I thought it was fun. I thought it went way longer than I thought it would have. I thought by an hour and a half we'd be ready to bounce, but I think it went like 3.5 hours. So yeah, it was good. And I was going to say too, like, I think I noticed a couple people comment, maybe it was in our Discord, I don't remember where it was, but that people give those guys credit for what they do, because to do a podcast for Tyler and I. We've worked a great system out. It works for our schedule, and we live 2 blocks away in the same time zone, and we rarely do interviews. And the reason for that is mostly me. It's I don't want to. It's hard to schedule, and for those guys, I hope people give them credit because they're both in very different time zones and they never do it by themselves. They've always got other people on there. So that is a massive undertaking to try and organize that scheduling wise. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just
someone's always waking up at an ungodly hour and the other person's always having meeting.
Right. It's crazy.
And then you're still wanting to be energetic and attentive, be capable of properly communicating, then efficiently enough that you want them to come back, but also that they enjoy themselves and also that the viewers are enjoying the content. Like, it's a lot.
And then
so good for them.
Throw on top of that the fact that they do it live and they do it on a medium where people can comment and respond. And we have a great benefit of we're audio only focused. We tend to have a pretty good audience, and YouTube represents such a tiny percentage of our listeners. So, there's the comment section for us is Discord. Really, that's where we get the feedback from. We don't have that ongoing, certainly not live commentary happening. And I'm impressed with what they do. They're putting themselves out there to the wonderful World Wide Web, and all the things that live under the bridges that come out sometimes. And so, yeah, I'm impressed with what they do. I think that's a big undertaking. So props to them. And then Octavian was a ton of fun to chat with as well. So
yeah, it was. That was wonderful for him to give us time as well. We had a lot, and this isn't, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to be thankful. We had a lot of very positive feedback regarding both episodes, but it is YouTube. And there's also people that are not familiar with how we go about playing or chatting the game. There's people that definitely wouldn't have listened to us if we weren't on someone else's show. Would you like to go through some of the negative comments on YouTube, Justin?
I didn't pay a ton of attention. When Tyler and I started, I told him, I'm not going to watch chat because I don't want to read somebody being like, those guys are idiots. And I'd be like, I know, guy, we're trying to figure out why we're here too. Piss off. So I didn't actually read too many of them, but I just saw a few good ones. I saw one negative one because I messaged you and we both laughed at the idea that I don't think this person actually listened to the podcast. But yeah, sure. Do you have some?
Let's not shout them out, unfortunately.
But, I don't want to give them.
Anytime
credit.
somebody's no, totally. But you know what? Every time somebody's a douche driver on my street, I want to put their license plate on our episode and have people harass them. I'm quick to anger kind of guy. So anyway, this person says, you would have been better asking some random stranger in the supermarket some questions about PoE than these two guys.
I did see that. Grammar. Was the only one I saw.
They have no clue at all. Don't even know previous leagues. They just know it from trailers. Probably the weakest podcast, in my opinion.
That was the only one I read. And first off, I was like, all right, maybe you could find somebody in the supermarket that knows more than us. Maybe I'll give you that. That's possible, but you're a dick. But also, what? We don't know previous leagues. I was trying to remember, when did we talk about previous leagues? We were like, oh, I don't know what that is.
Oh, it was me when I didn't know when you guys were referencing the, because I get my stuff mixed up all the time. Like you say Sanctum and I'm thinking something else. But there was the one that we just did with the trees on the items.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What's that called?
Can't even think of it right now. Don't know.
So anyway, there was that one where I was like, wait, was that this
Crucible,
one?
Crucible.
No, was this Crucible? Right, right. So anyway, I think that's what that was referencing because that's the only time we actually talked about it. So I only know what it was like from the other one.
That's
so,
awesome.
Here's another one. 10 units is 10 decimeters. 10 decimeters are 1 meter. Learn some basic metrics.
Is that actually negative or is that just kidding at us? What were we?
Well, when someone comes up to you and says, learn some basic metrics.
I'd rather not. Not.
And it still is irrelevant because we're talking about how to apply that into the game.
Was this when we were talking about range or something, maybe?
Yeah, the difference
the meter
from
thing, right,
meters, units turning into meters. I get that.
Oh, a decimeter. Okay.
Oh, so
now I
know. Funny enough, I was looking at, because I was doing a lot of theory crafting this week, I was looking at behead support, and now it's 0.5 meter melee range, increase, plus 0.5 meter melee range. And I'm like,
yep.
I liked +3 melee range because the funny thing is on the tree it still says +3 to melee range. It doesn't say
really?
0.5 meters.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so many compliments. I would love to shout out everybody that gave the compliments. So please don't be offended that we're not. I just thought it would be funny to be fun with the negative. We haven't done this in forever talking about.
I think almost all
people.
of them were positive that I remember seeing, but I only looked in the first like day or two.
And some of them were like not. They would be offensive if we didn't know the people. You know what I mean? Like it was just like people loving that we keep distracting from Path of Exile, or loving that we're not the elite tier. So you know what I mean? Like it was a lot of our faithful listeners that were making some really fun compliments. Okay, yeah, this one was great. I tried listening to these guys' podcast a couple of times. They way too normies for my taste. Talk so little about PoE and so much about how their kids are going to school and how they did barbecues and shit. And now I'm learning they don't even play leagues, just rotting in standard. Jeez.
So again, they listen to like a portion of maybe what we spoke about, but also
nice listening skills.
You're right. He should just listen, or he or she should just listen to the first 15 minutes of our podcast over and over. They'll learn to love us.
So many great compliments I'm skimming through.
Normies. They way too normies. I don't know what that means.
So many good ones. The lawn care section made me realize I don't actually like PoE, and things outside this game can be fascinating puzzles. That wasn't a diss. That was just
I think most of them were quite positive, if I remember correctly.
Yes, they were. This one's negative and positive. Slightly annoying guests and incapable of answering a question without a 5-minute non-related rambling. My mistake. Could not make it through the whole podcast, but this seems to be the exception when I see all the Forever Exiled fanboys in the comments.
I mean, all the rambling, like that's what a podcast is. If you don't talk, podcasts don't exist.
I'm not watching 4 hours of Tyler going off on tangents. F this.
What? What tangent?
Any of them. Anyway.
That was awesome.
So many wonderful compliments. It was fun to shout out some of the negative ones, but thank you so much for everybody that was very kind and complimentative. I don't mean to be repetitive. We just want to make sure that that we saw your comments and we're very, very thankful.
Yeah, they were awesome. I don't remember if it was on Discord or what, or I can't remember where I saw it, but I did see a couple people mention like, oh, now that you guys have done this, hopefully you're going to start doing, live or camera stuff for your own. And I was like, nuh-uh, this was not foreshadowing. I promise. We aren't doing it. Not happening.
Yeah. No.
Maybe for episode 723.
It's just around the river bend.
It's coming up. Yeah. Yeah. The live thing is not my thing. Tyler and I like to just like do stupid shit while we're recording and things happen and we've got noise and kids and all that good stuff.
We do have episode 222 coming up.
Oh.
And rep digits.
What are we on right now? 208?
Yeah. Only 14 away. And you know how time flies.
All right, sure.
Guaranteed.
100%.
I want to get into this week in PoE.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Build of the week. 2 of them we missed, so didn't get a chance to watch them. Sorry, build of the week winners. A couple hideout competitions. So those are always really cool to see. I really, really, really hope. I think I've said this before. It sounds familiar. That GGG completely modifies the hideout editing for Path of Exile 2. It's too old school now. It's too
I think I've said that before. I don't think they will though.
Yeah. No, but I think they should. It, like to just get lost in that moment when everything's already unlocked now. You don't have to play the game to unlock stuff like you used to have to. You could just get lost. And especially because you can have one hideout per, like a saved hideout per background or per, what's it called?
Base or whatever, yeah.
It's astonishing. I mean, they do need to fix that the reclaim all button doesn't reclaim everything from everything, but still, like,
I don't know how you would make it easier though when there's like one piece that's got 30 versions of it, because you'd have to have a massive menu to pick from if you didn't have these variations. You
would have a little bit more stability in how level everything is. You wouldn't have that. You would have much more consistent levels in terms of heights, right? So things wouldn't clip as much. There's definitely a lot of things that don't integrate very well because of how tall or low they sit on the ground. And then there's also how angles move. If you actually restricted the angles, like right now, you can spin an item that you want to put in your hideout any of the 360 degrees. But if you restricted that to, 10 or 12 different degrees, whatever it would be, right? 9 degrees, something like that, or 18, then you would have a much easier way of actually clicking them. And then having kind of like that click option as well, where things could just together, then you would be able to have a lot easier symmetry and be able to, when the levels of height are the same as well, you would be able to piece things together in a way that wouldn't make your brain explode from a cramp trying to perfect things. So something like that, like not, I guess kind of how Fallout 76 ended up making their hideouts and stuff click together and that kind of thing. Like the click was more important than the height when you were making stuff there. So obviously that's a completely different game, but something where the user is capable of doing exactly what they want, as opposed to trying to find an item that will hopefully work for them. If they scroll through the 30 different variations, they know that whatever they pick will be able to work properly with it. Whether it looks good or not would be the difference.
Because in those 30 variations, you could have something that takes up 1 square and then all of a sudden something that takes up 4. Like they're so different.
Yeah. So I really hope that is a change coming. It would be very disappointing for people that love to do this. People spend hundreds of hours doing this stuff that are really good at this. So I don't know. I think it would be nice to have going on circles. What else do we have? Oh yeah, the community highlights. I always like seeing them, but you know what I'm kind of getting disappointed with?
What?
It's the same people.
For what?
The community highlights. It's the common names.
I see.
I would love somebody to go through, like, yeah, get some of the common names because that's good for marketing and that's good for this and all that. But when you then refresh the list and do it by viewers, you know what I mean? So sure, now you're seeing the Twitch list for Pathofexile people, people with the most viewers at the top. Switch that up and then like take people that have no viewers or 5 viewers and just like try and find a few clips every now and then. Have a couple no-namers on your screen all the time. Have a couple big, just like it's nice to mix it up a little bit. When it's always the same people and it's always the popular people, it's kind of like, it feels less like a community when you're only doing the crazy popular all the time. I get that the crazy popular are good for money and numbers and all that kind of stuff. That makes sense. But it's less of a community when the community's not recognizing the small people too. What do we have? MTX. The Ancestor Mystery Box concept art.
Mm-hmm.
Then there were 3 new microtransactions. There was a portal, Hall of the Dead. Do you like that one? Actually, I was a big fan of the.
It was
portal.
alright.
Did you?
It was basic, but it was fine.
Yeah, it is. I actually bought some stuff was on sale this past week, and I'll get into that later. But I finally caved and bought some project skins because the zombie, that's the one where like the zombies have tubes going in them and they're all green. Okay. And then that's from the Metamorph League, I think. That's how long I'd been like humming and hawing over it, and then I finally went and spent the money. It was like $40 eventually. Well, and if they come out with a zombie skin next league, like clowns or treants that I've always wanted, I'm gonna be fine with it. But still, I bought the portal.
Sweet.
Have you seen the portal for Project? It's basically like this big tub or bucket, like huge bucket
that pours down or whatever.
It doesn't do anything. It looks like it's supposed to pour, but there is 0 animation to it. I was very disappointed. I'm still considering going back.
I thought it pours out or something.
Doesn't do anything. I mean, maybe it does when the loading screen's up, but every single time I click on it, nothing happens. And that was actually really disappointing because the whole reason I got it was I wanted to see what it would do. It would so I'm actually thinking about emailing them for a refund because it doesn't do anything. But yeah, so anyway, they have this Hall of the Dead one. They came out with the Forge of the Titans
hideout.
That league that I can't remember. Crucible. It starts with a C. Crucible. They came out with like that main thematic.
Pretty cool.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And I think it has the interaction with like that unique crafting bench.
I think that becomes your crafting bench, right? Yeah. That's cool.
I'm sure you can add your own anyway, but still really cool. Yeah.
I like when they do hideouts like this where your area to build is not the whole area. So there's like a background that's not part of your hideout to build, but it's like you're in the middle of it. Those look cool.
Yeah, definitely. And they came out with a cordyceps,
the bow
MTX. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
So, yeah, and then lots of patches. There was a hot fix and then a C patch, and the C patch also came out with on console as well. So everybody's all samesies. Everybody's samesies.
That C patch, there were actually some things in there that I really liked that surprised me. That they weren't that they haven't been there since the beginning. So like the fact that now divine vessels and scarabs, I didn't realize that they were only ever map owner based drops. We would have noticed it playing for sure, but I thought it was always just by chance that the scarabs would happen to drop for me or the divine vessels. So now they actually drop the way they're supposed to, which could be to anyone. And also, I love that they fixed it now so that when you're going to apply an incubator, you can see there's an incubator item, an incubator icon on the bottom right corner of an item that already has an incubator on it, which is super
so you can
nice.
Actually
it's so much faster to apply them.
Agreed. Yeah, those are both very, very cool. So yeah, the logbooks and the divine vessels and scarabs. Oh, sorry, logbooks, atlas memories, divine vessels, and scarabs can drop for everybody, which is really cool. Incubators, like you said, and how many foiled unique items are there in the game now? They added another 994.
I saw that. It's crazy.
Like that is, I mean, maybe 10,000 of them are mage bloods or headhunters or whatever else people really, really like. But man, that's a lot. Like if I was to know how many there were now, I don't know if I would spend the money on it. Like if I had the money to spend and I wanted to do that.
I don't think most people are spending money because they wanted to have a foiled unique though, right? Like people were doing it because they want some of the other stuff or support them or whatever. But yeah, I agree with you. The chances of yours being found is low.
There are, well, even just that, the chances of finding one you want or could use or like it's got to be pretty diluted now. Now, but that being said, I mean, like you said, you're doing it to support the company, and it's cool when somebody else gets your item and they're excited. Imagine being one of those like thousands of people and you just made a more common item that people like, if it dropped on the ground, it wouldn't even show on a filter. Anyway, yeah, so another 1,000 added there. So that was all really neat and fancy. They are finally adding YouTube videos from ExileCon 2.
Oh, good. A little late.
It's the end of September, beginning of October. Their thing was at July. So it's 2 months.
End of July.
Yeah, end of July. So then the end of August, end of September. So it's been 2 months. And they're starting to come out with them like maybe once a week. The first one they had was bosses and monsters. Awesome one to do. The next one was item design and mechanics. Really like that stuff. Some of those things are interesting to watch, like because you're looking for snippets that you don't already know or that you forgot. But sometimes when you have like some of these talks and it's like, well, none of this is official. All of this could change by the time PoE 2 comes out. It kind of ruins the hype a bit. But man, I wish, and maybe a lot of this delay has to do with transcribing. I saw a note from Bex on one of the tweets from GGG that went out and said, kudos to whoever put all the work into transcribing this so quickly. But I don't know. It seems like 2 months is such a long time. Like maybe because maybe there isn't a care in the world, and maybe my assumption to what would be good marketing and having these videos available sooner or paying somebody like a company to transcribe it all much faster. Maybe it's not worth it because Path of Exile 2 is so far away. Maybe that's the mentality of it. But I don't know. I'm curious to see, like maybe come Christmas time or January, how many views each of these videos has. Because my assumption would be if these videos were available a week or two after Path ExileCon 2, or even like, you know what I mean, really close to ExileCon 2, that they would have so many views right off the bat within that first week. People having questions and all that hype. And so I'm curious to see. I'm going to be rewatching each of these videos as they put them out as well. I'm excited to do that. I'm excited to go through. We had a listener listening to the Octavian interview where we were talking about what Octavian told us about, you know, something happened when I was playing Path of Exile at ExileCon 2, and I'm surprised nobody's noticed it yet. So we had a couple listeners go through and they said we couldn't find anything. So, but I'm excited to go through and see that when that happens. I think Bosses and Monsters, Octavian was in that one. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, yeah, there was that, and then this one's really interesting. Like, you and I both really like lore, but it's not worth our effort to go through it. If it wasn't for Kit and Cat Noodle, we'd probably know 10 times less. But this was an interesting one. They had a post about creating Trial of the Ancestors lore, and it was both encouraging and discouraging for me. Like, it's very interesting, and I love the whole lore aspect, and I love, as a fan, hearing the discussions as to how this works. You know what I mean? Like, they said, where was it?
My favorite part is the Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, I love it. About who likes who and doesn't like, right? And how they interact with each other, right? Like, they say stuff like Kalm and Utala were not immediately chieftains for Nagamahu and the Gitava tribes. We had a discussion about that, wondering if we could really use these characters from the main storyline. You know what I mean? And so they voted yes. Like, there's all that ambiguity. Is that, did I say that right?
Ambiguity, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds way better when you say it. About the lore. And so it's like they're deciding as a group what the lore could be, like where that could go. I love having that out there. And then there's also some other stuff like the community noticed that there was already a Val architect named Ahuana, but we decided to stick with this name because the Karui name is pronounced Anuana. Like, I don't know, just like some little mix-ups, but that ended up working out okay. The thing that was both encouraging and discouraging for me, and this isn't no intent for them to be dishonest with us or hold things back, because I much prefer them being honest with us, but because there's a massive amount of commitment here. But this person was saying, who is it? Was it Matt or was it
Matt?
Okay. Normally last week before launch is when I get to kick back and watch everyone else panic. This week, though, because of Exile Con, we worked right down to the wire. And when I say the wire, I mean I literally had a flight to catch on Thursday night. And I sent the final commitment of all the dialogue and all the story and all the lore at 7:20 p.m. And I had to be at the airport at 8 o'clock. That's how dedicated I am to make sure that this is done properly and doing that. And that's awesome. It also, though, from my perspective, it's so crazy to me that the company still in a way kind of functions like that. You know what I mean? Like, things are just that last minute. And I know people can say, like, yeah, ExileCon obviously triples their workload, but that's all part of time management and planning, to just like throw that on and then not have that type of resource available for planning so that people aren't doing that crazy stuff. But like, thankfully it worked out from, you know, the dialogue choices, but like, what did they say? That they were recording until the day before the league launch for some of the final characters. Like, I'm glad it worked out, but I wouldn't have felt bad for them if it didn't, when you have that kind of timeline. Like, anyway, so I appreciate the commitment and the willingness to do it, but it's so crazy to me that after like Heist, you know what I mean? And all the stuff that they say that they were like quality first from Heist, it's just crazy that there's still so many last minute things when you're controlling your own timeline, you know, when ExileCon's coming, all that kind of stuff. So it was really neat to read, though. There was a lot of really cool lore in it. Kit and Cat Noodle's already come out with her lore for this league, which I haven't had an opportunity to.
I saw her tweet that her first video was like over an hour and just audio recording, which is crazy. And that was her first video.
This one's got to be insane for her. Absolutely insane. So, yeah. So anyway, it was a really cool read. And that's that. I think that was everything in PoE land for this week. Yeah. Then the 2 YouTube videos. Yeah. Did you, I assume you haven't played because you've been gone, and then both work prep and work catch up after your trip?
No, I tried playing before we did Faded Connections for a little bit, but it wasn't a ton.
Stuff.
Yeah, I just tried some of the new updates to Trials, and yeah, we had a comment actually during the last week or something about somebody telling us that it was actually Trials of the Ancestors, not Trails of the Ancients, which I thought was quite funny.
Right, that's right.
Like, yeah, you might have missed an episode or two where we somehow got onto Trails of the Ancients.
We intended, because we kept mixing it up at the beginning, we decided to intentionally go with the opposite of what it is. So now it's officially Trails of the Ancients. Yes. Yep. So if you're listening.
Yeah, so
just jokes, just joshing.
I did play a little bit, just trying out the changes to Trials. I think I talked about it maybe in an After Dark, I don't remember, but I feel like at this point, if I want to, which I do want to play a lot more of the trials, I need to roll a new character or do something different because my character is just not fun. It's not fast enough. It's got no evasion. It just, the mechanic is a one-shot mechanic when you get up into the higher tiers, and I don't enjoy it with this character.
They need to simplify their stuff, I think. Like like strong boxes. That's for everybody. Every build can do strong boxes. You know what I mean? Arch Nemesis, we didn't like how Arch Nemesis ended up being, but any build could have done it. You know what I mean? Like it was,
I don't know.
I like those ones where it's just, you add something neat, throw some rewards, boom. Like very hit and miss league, the Calandra League, any build could do it. Like it was just more enemies. It was a different place to fight, right? So I like those ones. When you try and make things way too fancy, again, I'm going to reference Blight because that is a pretty build specific one. Then you have something like this. That's different. I mean, even Heist is a little bit different because of the amount of funneling that there is within that gameplay and very few escape patterns. Like it's just room after room after room, and so that one actually is quite build defining as well. But anyway, I'd like them to get more simplified, right? Bring back those good old strong box days. Talisman, all right, that's it. Give it to me. People love it.
Yeah,
but
and you can make the argument
that
this league you could technically play it as any, and the same with Sanctum was another one where if you want, you could play it with any. But the fact is, if you wanted to actually be somewhat successful and not just bored of being dead all the time or not being able to run a Sanctum or whatever it is, that you kind of had to go a specific route for your build. So, and I'm not saying you have to play trials. I just feel like for me, it's not as fun playing a tanky jug who's not supposed to die in a one-shot mechanic. It's just not as enjoyable as if I tried to roll something else. So
yeah, but you know what, contrary to what I'm saying, or I guess it's not contrary, it's just another point to consider, but if these stats are correct, Reddit's been posting tons about how this is the second biggest league when it comes to players playing late in the league. Like it's just very popular. Yeah. And I think that comes directly not because it's what is it? What do they call these games? It's not a MOBA. What is it? These it's not a tower defense. What's this genre called?
ARPG?
Game? No, like the actual league.
Seasons?
Like what's that game called? If you're just to buy a game where it's doing anyway, this is a specific genre. Anyway, not
I'm so lost. Sorry, I don't know what you mean.
When you go into a trail of the ancients.
The actual thing itself. Okay,
yeah, league, whatever that genre is called. Okay. I don't think it's necessary. This is just me talking. I don't think it's because of that. I think it's because they made the rewards so worth it.
Yeah,
like it's worth going into that no matter what. It is worth, even if you die, you're like, crap, but these rewards are worth it. Let me get back in there.
Well, especially when you throw in the tattoos, that's where you get them. And tattoos are so cool.
Oh,
they're
man.
So cool.
I hope they exclude the league mechanic, and I really hope they keep tattoos.
I don't mind
maybe
both,
the tattoos only drop from a certain
always
base type. You know what I mean? Like maybe from like a more native or indigenous base type, those tattoos can drop. Pretend like you're chopping off their arm and you're like taking their tattoo.
I hope they keep both, but I don't know that I want tattoos to be associated with only trials.
Right. Sorry, I interrupted you. But are you going to re-roll, or are you going to wait for our private league?
I'm not sure yet. Haven't made a decision.
Cool.
Yeah, we got to figure out a private league soon, I guess.
After dark.
Sure.
Okay. This week I spent some cash, as I said. $31.50 on Project Body Armor.
American?
Canadian. 12 on console, it's all Canadian. 12, but their packages, like their support packs, are priced on whatever day they bothered checking the exchange rate, which was like probably 6 years ago. So a $60 pack is like $90. You know what I mean? So I only buy points because with points, it's just a direct purchase. It's in Canadian. There's no fake conversion rate. So never buy the packs unless, of course, like there's been some that have been gifted to me, and that was very kind. But anyway, yeah, I spent $31 on body armor. They were on sale. I bought 2 pets for $12 each, a portal that I'm disappointed in for $11, and the one that was the most important that it all revolves around is the $8.50 zombies, the Project Zombies.
Oh, do you like them?
I like how they look, And normally this is great. Like the zombie slam and all that, the color corresponds to the project. So like the zombie slams now are like when there's like this big green zilching going around. So I like that it actually changes more than just the skin. It changes their skills as well. Unfortunately for me, I don't want bright at all.
Right.
And so I wish that it didn't do the big green bright zilching.
Yep.
So yeah, I also have a note here. Let's try and see what Google did with my voice typing here. 3 key rack harbinger portals in the Necropolis boss fight with that stupid bone ring.
Okay, so the Necropolis boss fight,
and he has that bone ring. I'm not talking the item.
Yes.
I hate that.
You can
that
did they ever add an
circle.
open to it? I can't remember. Do you have to use a movement skill to get out of it?
I don't know because I can
remember.
easily. I'm always have a full quartz flask.
Okay, and so
So
then
I can
I'm
get
guessing
out of
you
that
got
if I see it, but I'm doing a very busy minion build, so even that's it's an obvious skill. I don't always see it.
and you obviously got some harbingers in that fight.
To have multiple harbingers, I think it was probably like an. Oh, I know what happened.
Look at us working through this.
See, who needs Google? Obviously, Google's getting dumber and dumber the more I speak to it. But anyway,
Is that you or them?
I had no, it's Google. Like my whole family makes fun of Google. Like,
Okay.
you know, hey Google, can you define this word for me? Well, that word has 2 definitions. Here's the first one. Is that the one you wanted, or would you like the next one? Next one, please. Turns off. Or next one, please. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Turns off. So no, I had 2 red Einhar beasts.
Mm-hmm.
The Necropolis boss with that stupid bone ring, and 3 Harbinger portals. Because it was one of those memories with all the crazy amount of Harbingers.
Yep.
So it was busy.
Mm-hmm.
And Harbingers are very guilty for throwing rares at you out of nowhere. So sometimes it's fine. Sometimes like, where's that coming from? But it's a Harbinger. You're not going to find out where that's coming from. You just got to kill stuff as fast as you can. So anyway, I didn't finish that map.
Dang.
It was before 10 o'clock, before I got tired, but I still lost half my level. I can't tell you how many times I've hit 91 and a half. Only to see that yellow bar go all the way back down to 91.0. But yeah, that was a pretty epic one. And I have a fantastic build that I really don't like. There's nothing more to squeak out of the base minimum of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to improve in terms of getting epic gear that I can't afford, but I don't think I can make it any better from the base version. And so I'm very happy with it. There really aren't any modifications that I can do without getting more epic gear. But so I wasn't discouraged by failing. It was just one of those things where it's just too much with the mods that I had. And then, so yeah, I also had a chance with, cause I'm invested into bestiary, and it happens sometimes, but not often. You know how sometimes like I get excited because, you know, I'll get like 40 rogues in a map, which I don't do anymore. 23 beasts in one map. Oh, it was awesome.
Wow.
And half of them, well, just under 13 of them. No, it was 12 of them. It was one under half. 12 of them were red. It was awesome.
So
like
11
red
of
beast
them.
as opposed to, yes, 11 of them.
Was it a good map? Was the map at least a good layout for that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, not no, not yes. When the red beasts come, they just run at you. And for the most part, a few of them are quite deadly with their hidden arch nemesis mods that they have. But for the most part, they were just fun, slightly longer fights. Yeah, they're good. The thing that sucks about I'm still a drop first kind of fan, and bestiary drops nothing. It's all about just earning the eventual crafting reward. Thanks for fixing that, by the way.
My stupid camera thinks that's a face.
The red
I've
lamp
got a
in the
little
background.
lamp on my thing that's, yeah, it looks like a little guy, and it keeps changing the stupid focus to him. Sorry.
No, it's good. It's just like bestiary never drops anything good, even when you're fully invested into it, and there's a possibility of dropping items that have a beastcraft on it. It's almost dropping nothing all the time. So it's all about the crafts, and the crafts are strong, the crafts are powerful, the crafts are worth the investment, but I'm still a drop guy. So it sucks when you like go through this big fight. Metamorph is the same way. You go through this big fight and then it's just moving on. You know what I mean? You don't really see it, and you don't even get the satisfaction of the kill, because they get trapped instead of killed. You know what I mean? Like there's that lack of
you have to wait for the drops and
you do actually, which is unfortunate. You remember Dark Souls 1 after it got updated, and we're talking the original one, not the remastered one. Dark Souls 1, you would have to wait for like 3 seconds after every single kill because that's when the drop happened.
When the shiny would pop up, yeah.
Right. It wasn't like at the beginning. It was after it'd been updated a whole bunch and they, made a whole bunch of fixes to the game. Part of it slowed the game down so that after you heard the ch sound, you had to wait after every single enemy to see if they dropped something or not. Feel the same. That's the total vibe I get when I do bestiary. I've been theory crafting.
All right.
So much so that it hurts my head and I have made no progress despite spending hours upon hours upon hours. I really want cluster jewels to work.
Okay.
But I can't find... Man, okay, so imagine if my kids asked me for help with Minecraft during Fated Connections. I've been gone for like 10 minutes. Justin's been very kind, probably thankful because he gets to do some work.
But doing some work.
My kids, I don't play Minecraft. I know nothing about Minecraft. It makes me so nauseous that in a good and a bad way, there's no point in me even learning about it because just the gameplay itself makes me so nauseous. I can't play with the kids at all. But as a result, I know nothing about it. And so my kids play lots, they play tons, but I'm discovering that my son is the one that normally sets everything up and helps my daughter out and all that kind of stuff. So now she's starting to get more friends at school and they want to hang out, and they're like, I don't let my kids play anywhere near as many video games as some of these other kids. And so she's like, doesn't know how to invite friends or not invite, because one's on PC, one's on a tablet, they're not all on an Xbox. And so it's like, well, how's it going? And I don't know. Like, I don't know. Can you send them an Xbox invite? Like, I don't know how it works. And so she's like, Dad, my friend wants to do this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, try this. And like, I don't know. So anyway, it took me like 10 minutes to do that. So anyway, live.
We're back.
Live. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, cluster jewels. Like I really want cluster jewels to work. I see so much power. There's so many cool notables, but for me to get like my base character safe enough and powerful enough and defensive enough to eventually have some of these nodes replaced, it's tough. Like I can't find a way for me to get the stats that I like with my character. To interrupt myself, I don't want to do a cluster jewel build with only one set of clusters, like one large, medium, and small. I don't want. I don't know. Like I don't feel like the build's strong enough or valuable enough if I'm not doubling up on those. Because one thing I love about the cluster jewels is that the notables are stackable. I guess technically notables are always stackable. It's just there's only one notable on the tree, right? And then if you allocate that same notable that you already have allocated, like with what's it called, with oils, it's not stackable because you're actually using the exact same notable. It's not like that notable's in two separate locations. So when it comes to cluster jewels, you can stack your notables because they're separate they're in separate locations on the tree. So just the fact that they have the same name is irrelevant. So I love that aspect. But to me, I could make a better build without cluster jewels if I only had one large, 2 medium, and 2 small clusters. I get better benefits with the way that I like to play with just the normal vanilla tree. So I want to be able to make 2 full clusters. Now they could be a dependency on having like the smallest large clusters, the smallest medium, and the smallest smalls. I'm fine with that, but because it's all about, for me, stacking the notables and then possibly getting the benefits. But I'm having a really difficult time finding a way to do that with a build that only requires a level 91 or 92. I'm like needing to get into 97, which I'm never going to reach, right? So playing like theory crafting an insane amount that way, trying a whole bunch of different things. I'm desperately trying to... Like I'm going back to remember when I was, before the Guardian changed this league, I was thinking of completely swapping over my zombie build to the Guardian build the way that it used to be. Thinking about doing that, but with the champion now, because I just love the champion's auras. The Necromancer's good. It's really strong. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just very boring to me. And I love
We've
the
done
free.
it forever.
It is. Yeah, that's true. The champion has free accuracy, right? So you don't have to worry about accuracy investment for your minions. It has taunt, right? I take reduced damage when I've taunted. My allies take reduced damage when I've taunted. There's either free added damage. There's 35% increased aura effect. There's also the option of the pure fortify. So it's like, oh man, there's so much going on and so many fun options that I really like. Whereas the Necro doesn't have a lot of those fun options. You know what I mean? There's definitely lots that are easy to ignore based on the style of build that I want to play. So I'm really trying to make that work. And for some reason I have in my head, so I'm trying to get all this stuff done. I'm trying to make the champ work with zombies. Easy enough. I could take my Necro tree and slap that onto my champ and it would work fine. But I have this thing now where I really want a surprise minion build. So it's it doesn't look like much, but once the fight starts, I'm completely overwhelming you. So, dominating blow would be a surprise minion skill for me because it starts off with nothing. But then as I start smacking, all of a sudden there's 9 sentinels running around, right? Herald of Purity is another one. There's nothing until I start smacking. Summon Phantasms is another one. All those surprise minion builds where as I start doing something, more starts showing up. So I really want to make these red minions, the red skill gem minions work. But I also really want zombies to work because I just can't bail on zombies. I hate that I love them, but I love them. So I'm just trying to make it work. And I currently have a build. It's been a tough week, Justin. I think I still have 30 skills to cut so that I'm within the 24 sockets that I'm allowed. It's so difficult.
30 to cut?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm so right now, at the end of the
54?
day, lots. There's so many things that I want in the build that I can't. And with my zombie build, I don't need so many of these other ones. For example, I don't need Herald of Purity with my zombie build because I'm not doing any attack damage. So that means I don't need my summon Holy Relic at all. That is irrelevant. I don't need to have Impale. I don't care about summon Phantasms. There's just so much I don't need. So it's easy for me to add in that build Spectres for frenzy charges and a stone golem with Guardian's Blessing and Pride for the bonus damage because I have that space and I can throw in an offering. With this one, because I'm doing melee, every single minion option is powerful and tempting, and so it's very difficult to cut. But then on the tree, I'm also debating, okay, how do I get back down to 91? I'm currently at 97. There are 2 nodes on the tree that reduce critical damage that I take by 30%. One's a notable, one's an armor mastery option. I love those 2. Having 60% reduced crit damage, having crits reduced that hit me. Okay, having crits that hit me, have that damage reduced by 60% is huge. Right.
Are you getting hit often, with your
with the champ? I would be because I'm the taunter, so I'm the one that's getting hit. But then I'd be stationary often when it comes to dominating blow, and so it's very difficult for me to exclude Arctic armor because that's 21% less physical damage taken, and that's flat. That's excluding all the armor that I have. And with determination and the champ, I'm going to have 33,000 armor without any gear on. That's so, I'll be tanky and I'll have 81% elemental resist again, like I do with my other builds. So I have the mitigation that I need, but it's very difficult for me to have Arctic armor because then I can't have purity of elements. Oh, and that immunity to everything without flasks. It's it's everything except for the stupid stuff like vines or tar or whatever. It's just awesome. And so there's very little that when my health is dropping fast, I'm okay, it's probably a bleed. Awesome. You know what I mean? So it's so difficult for me to drop purity of elements. But on the tree, I'm either deciding between those 2 crit defensive nodes or that extra cluster of skill or mana reservation, because that will allow me to either have petrified blood, which will allow me to have Arctic armor, you know what I mean, reserving life, so I'm down to 50%, or I can get rid of that and it'll allow me to have purity of elements.
Choices.
It's so tough, man. Honestly, this whole week that's what I've been doing. I didn't play. I Well, I know. Sorry, I played a lot last week. This week, it's all been like, I really want to make this build work, and so I was really hoping to have it set for last night, because last night I had the time to play, but I didn't because I wasn't finished. So instead of broadcasting gameplay, I sit down at the computer and I'm broadcasting Path of Building and PoE Planner. And by the end, I added 30 more skills. I added 100 more nodes on the tree. My last comments on the broadcast were like, I gotta go to bed. My head hurts. I'd made no progress at all. But I'm also awesome. Trying to add, so like that's tricky enough when you're thinking about cluster jewels and you're really trying to force yourself to have your certain surprise minion skills, but forcing yourself to keep zombies, and I'm forcing myself to do champion. This is also why we don't do live. I just have a long break where Justin edits out all those silences, but I have no idea where I was going with it. Oh, right. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. 10 minutes later.
Got it. That's good.
I appreciate your patience. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's almost at 11 o'clock. I'm very sorry, Justin. I also want to go back to that swap ability. Like when I had my dominating zombies build with the Guardian, I had it so that I could weapon swap and just keep going. So like if I was in the mood for dominating blow, that would be on my 3-link melee weapon, right? And I like it on the 3-link melee weapon because it has that easy mod to get where it's +2 to all socketed melee jumps. I like that. And then on the other hand, I would just have something else that was working. But when I'm swapping, I don't want to activate anything. I want it to be seamless. So I don't want to activate any heralds or auras, and I don't want it to be something that interrupts my gameplay. So it would be that. And then on the other hand, if I wasn't feeling in the mood to be very active, and it just wanted to be a zombie build, then I would weapon swap. And on that one, I would have, Molten Shell with Convocation, right? Which is still technically one button because I don't count instant skills. That's just you hold a button down and then that. And then on the other hand, it was automatic Offering and Desecrate. So I liked having that weapon swap. Whereas if I was in the mood for a pure zombie build, it would work and it would be a little bit stronger. And if I wasn't in the mood for it, if it felt like being more active, then there was that option, and it didn't have the clunkiness of having to turn on and off auras. So that was really exciting to me, and I'm really trying to make that work. But it's difficult when I have 30 more skills to try and put into 24 sockets. So it's been a great week. I didn't mean to monopolize the entire episode by my ramblings. Not going to listen to Tyler ramble for 4 hours of that. But thank you everyone for listening to that. I'm going to move this card over to next week if you're all right with that.
You do you, buddy.
And so I've been having a fantastic time. Like one thing that I was actually going to say is I wish Twitch had Path of Building as a game.
Oh,
I wanted to type in Path of Building. I was like, maybe it isn't there. Maybe it is. That would have been pretty awesome. Path of Building.
You put it in your title though.
Or maybe, I don't know how they come up with like which games are legit or not. But it would be fun if somehow we could add, like maybe through Steam or however it is, like PoE theory crafting was a game. You know what I mean? As opposed to just pathofexile. Anyway, but then that would screw up Twitch drops because you can, like you just be saying that you're playing pathofexile and you'll get your Twitch drops.
I hate Twitch drops. I hate them.
Just because they make you feel like you have to do it?
So I loaded up Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh yeah, how was that
update? It's fine. I haven't had a ton of time to play it, but I played it a little bit. But when you get the Phantom Liberty, the new expansion, that one of the first things that pops up is they tell you about these two particular Twitch drops, and it's like if you go and watch someone, I'm like, I don't want to though. I paid you for the game, and you want me to go watch someone else play it? I don't get it. I just that bothers me. Or make it some other way to also get it in game, because I'm not going to go open up a Twitch stream. That's silly.
You know what though? That makes perfect sense. If you're not into broadcasting or watching, that should not be, in my opinion. I agree with you. It should be something that you can earn in game. Yeah. If you're not a Twitcher on either side of Twitch, if you can earn it in game by
for 2 hours, let me get it
within this time frame. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so silly.
Yeah, and if you can't play, I mean, almost everybody would prefer to play the game, but they're watching because they can't. They're working or whatever it is. So in that opportunity, you aren't missing out because you get to watch them. You still get that content. Whereas if you're actually playing,
it's very weird to me. I saw it. I was like, well, that's not something I'm going to get. So,
Stupid, hey? After you spend all this money.
Yeah, and it's just skin, so I don't really care. But I just find that weird that they don't find a way to also award it to you when you just play the game. It's different to me when there's like Path of Exile doing an announcement thing. Like that to me is different, because it's not, it's just, I don't know. In my head, it's different. They're like, oh, we've got our announcement, so we're going to enable Twitch drops during this time for these items. That's cool.
You can't play an announcement.
League, right. If they came out with a brand new league and they were like, oh, we've got these MTX that you can earn if you, I would be bitching on here about that 100%. If 323 came out and they were like, oh yeah, you disappeared too. If they said 323 is coming out, when it launches, if you watch, you can earn these things. I'd be like, no, that's not cool. So anyway, I don't think they've done that before, right?
No, I think GG's been legit with everything they do. I'm so glad they're like pure free to play. Like it's just going with that mentality of like how well thought out that kind of stuff is. They are really good with all the stuff that we've complained about and praised them for. One thing that they have been very good at is that integrity of ensuring that things are fair from a money standpoint, impacting gameplay and even rewarding players. I think they've done a great job. With the exception of what we're going to complain about tonight, because we can't do hardcore solo self-found in League.
Is it still not available? Oh, don't tell me that now. We're gonna talk about that in After Dark. It was funny how actually when I was in Vegas, the couple that we went with, they don't play video games, and he was asking about, they know about the podcast and stuff, and so he was asking about, or they were both asking about Path of Exile, and the concept of a free to play game was just, they're like, I don't get it though. How do they make money? And Christina's like, him.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this up. Episode 208. Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
We love your faces. Thanks so much for listening. Patrons, will catch you in After Dark. Everybody else, will see you next week in 209. If you're looking for more information, you'll find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a very fun Discord. You should pop in there and say hi. And Patreon and other ways to support the podcast. You'll find them down below as well as on the website. So long.
Thanks for listening to my ramblings. It was fun.